And I would like to introduce our next speaker, Alexa Beans. Are you here with us, Alexa?
I'm in.
Thank you, Alexa. Alexa is a partner in Halogen Ventures, and we're going to continue the fundraising theme and how to approach it. Alexa, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Hi, people all over the universe. I imagine it may be very late where you are, so thanks for hanging in there. And a little bit about me as some context. I am in the privileged position I am as an investor because my father was an entrepreneur in ultrasound. Many of the first pictures in their promo materials were of my big sister. I went on to study public health at Stanford and for many years worked on public health campaigns. So communicating about what we can do to live healthier, happier lives was sort of the beginning of my career, working with Planned Parenthood, the CDC, and MTV, Fox, Walgreens, the NBA. We worked on big national public health campaigns about STDs and HIV prevention. Today, I'm zooming in as a venture capitalist. I got into this work because my sisters and I sort of looked around and said, what are some of the things that we're really passionate about that we think the world needs to do a better job of, and women's health is a big piece of sort of the things we wanted to address. I now am on Jesse Draper's team at Halogen Ventures. Halogen invests specifically in co-ed teams and female founders, and she has had some successes already in FemTech. This is L sold to P&G. We are also investors in the Flex company, which is another patented tampon alternative company here in Los Angeles. We have invested a bit in the menopause space and in addressing cervical cancer. So I'd say if there is a FemTech pitch, it's very likely we've met a company doing something similar in the consumer space. And I wanted to sort of take this time to give you all a little bit of perspective so that you can understand your audience when you're pitching, because I think sometimes it feels like people just have excuses or they don't get it, and that's why they're passing on investing. And I figured I could use this time to sort of share our perspective. I help a lot of our founders fundraise, and so a big part of what I do is help teach them and learn with them, quite honestly, why people are saying no to us so that we can better use our time and energy. I think one of the biggest, most obvious ones is sort of, what does your company make? Right now, venture capital is primarily going towards SaaS companies, digital technology companies. So if you make a hardware device or a physical good, anything related to menstrual products, or I'd say sort of tools that you might use for incontinence, etc. One of the big reasons that people might be passing on investing in you is you are not a SaaS tech company. So we've talked a lot about the biases and the misunderstandings that sometimes female founders or FemTech founders face. But I think the number one reason people are probably passing is that their portfolio is made up of tech products, and they shy away from hardware, consumer packaged goods, and or community and content companies. So that's one reason people might be passing. That's not to say there isn't money in that space for those things, but you just should be a little more concentrated about who you're reaching out to, because otherwise that could be a very frustrating experience. So for instance, a couple places where you might be able to find, say you are building a hardware solution or a consumer packaged goods company, there are some different pockets of money that I would recommend you hunting down. NFX Signal is one database where you can sort for who invests in hardware. Similarly, I like to use Crunchbase to reverse engineer who invested in what. So if you have a consumer packaged goods company, you might look up other consumer packaged goods companies that you respect and have done well. And in Crunchbase, you can see who their early supporters were. Another big reason why people might pass on investing is it's not a good fit. Stage is the #1, I think, thing to learn. We've had a couple gals who have presented already in this conference that are later stage. And there's no reason really to talk to somebody if you are looking to raise $1 million who writes checks of 5 million. So as you get going on your fundraising journey, I think a really helpful exercise is to create that Google Sheet or Excel sheet or Airtable where you're tracking not only who are the people who invest in hardware or invest in CPG or what have you, you're making your wish list, but you should also take a look at when do they invest so that you're being respectful of your own time and you're only talking to people who invest at the same stage as you. Across the globe, the definition of seed or Series A or Series B sort of varies. And so I'd say the best you can do is probably make an estimate based on where you're seeing what announcements, what PR announcements there's. You'll say, so-and-so just participated in a $12 million XYZ round for this or that company. That tells you that they're maybe a little later stage than what you're looking for if you're looking to raise 2 million, 3 million, etc. I'd say another reason that we end up passing quite a bit is that we really look for first or second movers. So I mentioned Jessie already has had an exit in an organic tampon company, and that sold to P&G in 2019. So about once a week, I get pitched a new tampon solution. And I'd say that's not a first or second mover idea. So what I mean by first or second mover is that you are truly bringing some major innovation to the market. The Flex company, which we invested in starting in 2018, I believe, she has a patented product. And this is similar to where the diaphragm goes, something that slides up past the cervix and sits and rests for up to 12 hours a day to collect menstrual fluid. So that to us, it's still a first mover. She's the only one doing it. So when you're getting passes, it could be that there's a little bit of a copycat product where you might be pitching something that people have seen before. I think another thing to think about in terms of that fit, if you're working on that database of VCs to reach out to, is all the kind of like keyword hip trends that you are riding. And I'd say, for instance, we are consumer investors, and we're investing in things like FemTech and wellness, but also think about some of the other sort of categories that you might fall under. So for instance, if you're in healthcare, it might be in employer-sponsored or employer-backed kind of like fertility health. Carrot fertility is what I'm thinking of. So when you're targeting sort of which VCs you want to talk to, you sort of want to think about like what is interesting about your company or your business model. They'll say, oh, we invest in marketplaces. And so you're like, great, I'm a marketplace. Boom, 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 boom. Hit up all of the VCs who invest in marketplaces. Or I invest in enterprise. Perfect. Make sure you're focusing if you're selling into enterprises, on the enterprise investors. So it's a little bit about finding, just like product market fit, you're finding investor fit.
Thank you so much, Alexa. I mean, I hate that all this is so short. I want to spend like 1 hour with each one of you. Really cool. More to discuss in the panel. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. Thank you so much.